Hey everybody, this is Delores Bunch-Keemer and welcome to another episode of Let's Communicate. Today we are talking to Hajj Womack, and Hajj is a teacher. He used to be a teacher. He is now a principal at Best Academy Middle School. Hey Hajj, how you doing?
Hello, how you doing?
Doing well. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Just tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, my name is Hajj Womack. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I came to Atlanta, Georgia to attend Morehouse College and fell in love with history and became really fascinated with teaching history, and that's how I got into education.
Wow. So now you are a teacher, you were a tutor, you were...
Yes, I started off as a teacher tutor for English as a second language in Atlanta Public Schools, and then from there I got into teaching history and social studies on a middle school and high school level, and then now I'm a principal at Best Academy Middle School in Atlanta Public Schools.
Wow. And how long have you been doing that?
Oh, this is my second full year as a principal of Best Academy Middle School. Prior to that, I was an assistant principal, dean of academics for about 4 years.
Do you like it?
Oh, I love it.
So I was telling Hajj a little bit about the things that we've been working on in the community. I'm going to the Crime and Safety Summit with the Commissioner Eves, and also working on the President's Initiative for excellence in education in the African American community. You're an educator. What do you see in the school every day? Just tell us a typical day.
Education and at Best Academy Middle School is very, very important that we focus on safety. And as you have been well aware of all of the news about things going on in various schools, so it's very, very important that we have a major presence at Best and all of our schools to make sure that we do not have incidents like we've just seen recently on TV. But what we see every day are young men coming to school regardless of what circumstances or situations that they may be in. They come to school ready to do some work, and then at times they're not also always ready to focus on what we really need them to do. However, they're still there, and it's our job to reach them and then ultimately teach them.
Is it now in your typical day? Do you see crime? I mean, do you see
on a typical day? Not necessarily, but on some days, yes. Sometimes we have metal detectors, and wands and things of that nature. So we may find contraband items like a knife or something on that line before, and we search things to make sure that those things do not get into the building. So it's very important that we are very vigilant there every morning, going through the bags and things of that nature, just to make sure. But then we do have some of our fights and things of that nature that occur. But then not really crime in that way. But the thing that happens a lot is that where sometimes young man may start talking about each other, and then it escalates from there. And then sometimes it may be considered bullying, depends on the extent and things of that nature. But for the most part, it escalates into maybe a fight or something along that line.
Do you have a large police presence in your school?
We have one police officer at our school for middle school and then one at the high school.
So let's say a child got arrested. What would happen to that child?
Oh, okay. Well, at that point, the child will get a ticket, and that ticket will either go to the parent to come pick him up, depending on if the young man has enough points in the criminal justice system. And if he doesn't have enough points, then a lot of times you can release that child to the parent along with the ticket so that they'll show up in court, of course. But if the young man does have enough points or what have you, then they can be picked up by juvenile and then taken to the facility.
So these are like derogatory points. These are episodes?
It's certain, if a young man has been in the system before, in hypothetical situation, maybe they committed a crime in the summertime or what have you, and they have a record. Then over time they achieve a certain number of points, if you will. So if they did something, then that's a certain number of points. If they carried a weapon or something, that's another certain number of points. Or maybe they were in possession of drugs or something along that line. Points are accumulated. But if it's their first offense, then they wouldn't necessarily go into Metro Youth Detention Center.
Do you see a lot of? Are you all able to reach a lot of kids as far as the education is concerned? you'd be considered a higher academy than others?
No, we're actually a regular public school.
Okay.
It's not a charter school or anything of that nature. It's a full-fledged public school. But the thing is, though, we do so it's to answer your question directly. No, it's not a higher requirement or anything along that line. It's a public school. But at the same time, we service all of those young men that come in the area for the formerly Bankhead, Donnelly Hollowell 30318 zip code. So we service all of them in that area.
So in that area, do you find a large amount of truancy?
Well, we don't have a large amount of truancy actually at Best Academy Middle School. However, there are those issues that they do face, and we are able to reach them by providing a lot of times with the wraparound services that the district provides, as well as partner agencies and community-based organizations come in and provide. We have an excellent parent center that really works with going to the parents, but not just parents, but getting the necessary help for our young men to meet their needs. And a lot of our young men come in with needs. And I keep saying young men because we're an all-boys academy. So therefore, they definitely reach them and talk to them and work with them, preferably on the preventing side versus just on a reaction side to some behavior.
Do the kids wear uniforms, or do they?
Yes, we wear uniforms.
Do you think that helps a lot?
I do think that helps a lot. It gets rid of some of the issues or conflicts over my appearance and not focus on just my appearance. I'm here. We all wearing the same thing. Let's go ahead and be about the business.
Right. So now, as far as the president's initiative, he wants to have a triple fold. What is the African American male? He wants some more attending college in 2020.
Amen.
So what do you think? Can we do that?
Well, we can definitely do that. I think with everyone reaching out and providing the services necessary to reach our young men where they are, we could definitely reach that goal. One of the things that we have to do is thinking about how do we extend the time on learning, time on task. What are we doing over the summer and over the spring breaks and things of that nature so that our young men are able to make up the gaps? Because there are real gaps that we have to achieve in order to overcome, in order to achieve that goal. And so we have to make sure that tutoring is available, that parents are in definite buy-in with this. So you have to have summer programs so that the learning that they do master over the 9 months of the school year, that they don't lose it, because that is a traditional situation that you lose at least a month to 2 months worth of learning over that 2 month time period. So then you're always having to catch back up in the fall. So that's something that we really want to focus on.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to break, and we'll be back with more of Hajj and talking about the kids and the President's Initiative.
Tap Out Studios of Hollywood is one of Atlanta's newest visual and performing arts centers designed for you to perfect your creativity. Our 3,000 square foot event space includes a full bar, VIP section, movie screen, and 2 stages. Take advantage of our Spring Fling package deal for new and existing clients. Save over 40% when you rent our venue for $700 for events with more than 100 people. For booking information, contact Kendra at 404-578-1454. Located less than a half a mile off of I-20 off Fulton Industrial, we are Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, 620 Interchange Drive. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, inspiring creativity, changing lives, and making dreams come true. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood is one of Atlanta's newest visual and performing arts centers designed for you to perfect your creativity. Our 3,000 square foot event space includes a full bar, VIP section, movie screen, and 2 stages. Take advantage of our Spring Fling package deal for new and existing clients. Save over 40% when you rent our venue for $700 for events with more than 100 people. For booking information, contact Kendra at 404-578-1454. Located less than a half a mile off of I-20 off Fulton Industrial, we are Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, 620 Interchange Drive. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, inspiring creativity, changing lives, and making dreams come true.
Hey everybody, this is Delores Bunch-Keemer. We're back and we are talking to Hajj Womack. He's the principal of the Best Academy Middle School. Hey Hajj.
Hello.
Hey. Well, everybody don't forget to call in. Our telephone number is 678-383-7623. That's again 678-383-7623. So Hajj, I hear somebody tweeted you while we were on break.
Yes, they did. Assistant Principal Dean of Academics, Brenda Clemens, just brought to my attention to remind everyone that one of the ways that we reach our young men is by teaching our young men differently. So one of the things, not only time on task, it's just it also has to be the way we teach our young men. Mm-hmm. It cannot be the same sit in a row, maintain, be still, and that's it. You have to use single gender strategies and culturally relevant strategies that reach our young men, engage our young men, so it could be a deeper learning and increase mastery. So that's one of the things that we do differently also.
And one more time about the telephone number is 678-383-7623. That is, I think you're right on point. A lot of the conversation that we were having on Twitter, if you go to AFAMED chat, so that's a hashtag AFAMED chat, you'll be able to talk to other professionals about what we're going to do to work together to make the President's Initiative become a reality. One of the things that I noticed is that they just came back from a conference, and David Johns, do you know David Johns? Actually, he's working with the White House. He's the person that's appointed to work on this initiative. And he's been very good at telling us exactly what's going to go on. It's been great to be right informed on everything. But what I wanted to mention was that how the White House, the initiative, President Obama actually rolled it out in February.
Mm-hmm.
He rolled it out with a small group of young men.
Yeah.
Okay, we have an incoming call. Okay. Is she on?
Hello?
Hey, hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Can I ask who I'm speaking with?
Pardon me?
Who am I speaking to?
This is Brenda Clements. I'm the academic dean over at Best Academy with Mr. Womack.
Oh, okay. You had a statement to make or a point?
Well, I just wanted to focus on the way we fund the schools for our young men. The president's initiative is all well and good. However, we have to understand. He has to understand that we have to fund the schools differently. We have to train teachers differently, and until the government realizes that, we're going to continue to have our African American males, their lives be shortened with imprisonment or death or the street taking them, because we're not holding their attentions in school when we're not trained properly to educate them. So having that culturally relevant curriculum, male-based curriculum, it's important. It's vital for our black male survivors.
You are leading right into the other part of the topic that I wanted to discuss, which was how Commissioner Eves, he's having these crime and safety summits. Now, I'll give you a little background information about Commissioner Eves. His son was starting to attend Morehouse. First day he was there, he got accosted. And he got he's got his cell phone taken from him. His son called, and he was in a panic. He could see that his son was very shaken up when he got there, and he said, "We've got to do something about this," because it took 4 guys to take his son's phone away from him. But he was very shaken up. So that being said, the commissioner is now starting these crime and safety summits all around the city for us all to have conversations on what does the crime look like in our area, and then what are we going to do about it. It's under the initiative of President Obama because we want to start addressing the issues. What are the real issues that you all have to face in the schools? So at the first meeting, he had the district attorney, which he's always going to have. He has all 4 courts, magistrate, juvenile court, Superior Court, etc. They're all represented at the table, as well as the police commissioner and maybe the city council president. Everyone's sitting there and they're saying from their perspective what they think is going on in the community. A lot of statistics were brought up. Each court is seeing over 14,000 cases a year. That's a lot of cases. One court said that they're seeing about 40 cases a day, and they can't keep up with the caseload. That being said, we are looking in the audience, and now we're talking to the audience, and the audience now has a chance to rebuttal. 2 or 3 women came up there and said that they would like to see people who have more than 15 episodes, so 15 counts against them, they would like to see them put in jail for a longer period of time. So the district attorney stated to the audience, now do you realize that some of these kids are going to be aging out of juvenile system and they're actually going to go into an adult system? Do you still want this? And over half, now we're talking about a majority African American audience, the majority of them raised their hand and said they did not care, that they wanted them to be put into for a higher sentence. Now, what is your thoughts on that?
That is horrendous, because it's not just because the jail sentence, but a lot of the things that we have done, the decisions that we've made, funding or not, create a climate that makes that possible, that makes our young men susceptible to these type of temptations and these type of issues and concerns. For example, if we're not teaching them in a way to make them want to learn, want an education, then what else are you going to do to put those make dreams a reality. We all want a car, we all want clothes, we all want a nice house and things of that nature. But then what are the options that I have if the education hasn't reached me at third grade or second grade, in even earlier? What is it that we're doing? And I talk to many of my friends, and the issue that we're having is, well, we should have education, or we should want education like we did in the 50s. Well, in the 50s and 60s and even in the 80s, there was fewer ways out. When I didn't have the option, as many options now. I'm not bombarded with internet where I have easy access to everything, YouTube, Twitter, and things of that nature, where there used to only be one phone in my house, where now a cell phone is $30 away. It's not all. So we have to make education even more, gain a greater mind share of our young men, so that we can then reach them and teach them, not just say, oh, it's here, now you come and get it. That's not how it works. That's not how anything works.
Hajj, I would even push further and say, whatever happened to the private industry council, we have to make it much more appetizing for our youth. When I was growing up, we had private industry council where every summer I could go and actually work and make my own money. So I didn't need to go out and steal anybody's Jordans or steal anybody's Nikes at the time. We didn't have Jordans, or take anyone's cell phone, because I had my own money to go purchase it. And oftentimes when I'm dealing with discipline of some of our students where they have stolen someone else's cell phone, I ask them, do you have a cell phone? No. Do you want a cell phone? Yes, I do. I just wanted a cell phone like everyone else. And we have to make it, we have to be able to go back to those times where we were providing our youth with opportunities over the summer and in afternoons to actually work and produce some income, because families are unable to support and provide these extra things that our teenagers want. And as a teenager, all of us wanted the popular things.
Right.
And so they just want what every other teenager that they feel in their minds has.
Right.
They want that. And they can't get it any other way.
Right. I understand what you're saying. Well, we really appreciate you calling in. I want to answer your statement. At the Crime and Safety Summit, that was some of the things that we talked about, is that the how the kids are being, what is the answer? If they have 15 episodes could be one crime. So yes, they are committing crimes, but they're doing it because the police officer could tack on so many more things, and that could be pushed up into a 20 count offense. So one of the things that I noticed in the audience, and that's one of the things I wanted to bring to your attention, is that, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. There are more people who want to talk.
Okay. Well, I'm taking my Cub Scout unit camping, and I'm going to have to bow out right now. As a matter of fact, I really appreciate you all allowing me to speak on the matter.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for calling in.
Right.
Okay. So with that kind of a statistic, and what she was getting at is that the kids, we're not guiding them. Their parents are not guiding them. What do you think about that? Is that the parents need to take a bigger role, for those parents in that audience to say the kids, to raise their hands and say to give the kids, it's the kids' fault. It's the parents' fault. The parents did not raise these children properly.
I know
you don't want to say that, but I will.
Let me say this, that there's an African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child. But the rest of that proverb we don't really hear. And the rest of that proverb says, and if the children are sick, then the village is sick. So it's not, yes, the child has his issues, but that means all of us as a village. What has the school done? Right. What has community-based organizations done? What are our leaders done in order to reach them?
We have another phone call. Can I say who's calling?
Yes, this is Tammy. I'm a first grade teacher. And I was calling because I'm listening to Hajj telling us about gender-based teaching. And what strategies would you offer other teachers who are not privy to have a gender-based classroom but still definitely want to reach our boys.
Well, thank you for that call. One, competition. I would infuse competition in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And that means not only competition from one student to the next, or one group to the next, or even one class to the next, but also competition for that young man from within himself. He can compete from how did he do on the yesterday's game to how he's going to do today on the same game. So if everything is about competition and earning and achieving points, then that will make that young man want to succeed. For example, if there is a test that you're giving or what have you, and you post the scores of the young men or the students in the class, none of those kids want to be at the bottom. Every last one of them want to be on the top, and they will police themselves and say, I'm better or I'm higher than you. Then that young man says, no, you're not next time. And there you have it. The moment you have them say, not next time, you now have a young man that's willing to do whatever it takes in order to be successful. And now you have a motivated young man that's ready to learn.
Wow.
Okay.
Is that?
Thank you. That's definitely some good strategies that I can use.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
Another part of that conversation, Hajj, is you had said at 2 to 3 years old,
Yes.
that they start to develop their behavioral.
Oh no, it's not 2 to 3 years old. I think what we were talking about was earlier grade levels that they really have, the first and second grade, where they really start to begin to check out of learning. Then the other thing is that by the time they're in the second grade and no later than the third grade, it's no longer teaching how to read, but more about teaching. Now you're reading
Comprehension.
to learn. So now at third grade, they're expecting you to already know how to read. So now read this in order to learn something new. So it's fundamental that we get to those reading skills at a much earlier age.
Right. So from the child's point of being from age 0 to age 4 or 5 to go to school,
Yes, ma'am.
the parents are 100% responsible for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in that development stage, if the parents don't instill certain things, that means you all have to try to instill those things.
This is true. Yes, ma'am.
So if you're trying to instill those things and now their child has graduated from kindergarten, graduated from first grade, you're going into the second and third grade and the child hasn't learned the behavioral aspects of what everyone else has already learned.
Absolutely.
So that has to be affecting.
It definitely affects us. The social and emotional development of our young men, very important. Very important. So it's crucial that we teach those socially acceptable behaviors and norms, and mores. We teach them at an early age and ongoing. So you're absolutely right that our parents, our grandparents, as well as uncles and aunts need to definitely do that. But also, if we involve our young students into preschool, pre-K, the early childhood. So if we can use some of the funding into developing early childhood education at that pre-K, second 2-year-old, 3-year-old level, then we really will hook these young men and getting them better able to be successful and cope. The second thing I would like to say is that the difference between a gifted student and a regular ed student is just you're talking about 3,000 words. So really it's all about the vocabulary that we teach them in that way. And preschool is one way to get that.
Okay. Okay. We have a caller. We're going to go to break. We'll get you when we come back, and we'll have more conversation with Hajj. So just hold on.
Studios of Hollywood is one of Atlanta's newest visual and performing arts centers designed for you to perfect your creativity. Our 3,000 square foot event space includes a full bar, VIP section, movie screen, and 2 stages. Take advantage of our Spring Fling package for new and existing clients. Save over 40% when you rent our venue for $700 for events with more than 100 people. For booking information, contact Kendra at 404-578-1454. Located less than a half a mile off of I-20 off Fulton Industrial, we are Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, 620 Interchange Drive. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, inspiring creativity, changing lives, and making dreams come true.
Back, and I'm still here with Hajj Womack. Hi, Hajj.
Hello.
Hajj is the principal of the Best Academy Middle School, and we've been talking about education and all different topics, the President's Initiative, Crime and Safety Summit from Commissioner Eves. I was telling Hajj over the break that we helped move all of the children off of Fulton Industrial, directly off of Fulton Industrial. So now that was one hotel, Hajj. There's 7. There's 7 hotels along here, but that one had the main amount. Okay, we have a caller. Hello?
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm listening to you and Hajj talk about the different gender cultures, and my name is Ruth Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to hear me? And
I can
I've been
hear
an educator for quite some time. I've taught grades K through 12. And what I'd like to hear Hajj's take on and your take on is this culture of anti-intellectualism that we have, especially among our African-American boys. I have 2 younger sons of my own, and so I constantly make sure that I'm promoting education and letting them know it's okay to be smart, it's cool to be intelligent. But teaching, and even at the high school age, I found that the earlier grades, boys are more prone to want to do good in school, to want to show their intellectual talents. But by the time they reach that high school age, they withdraw from it. It's looked at as it's not a cool thing. You know, you're acting white and you're not staying true. You're a sellout. Research has been done about this over and over and over again. So how in a single gender school are you promoting that whole intellectualism culture?
Well, Dr. Hill, thank you so much for your call and comment. One, the competition is so significant. In football, you get competition. Basketball, baseball, all of athletics, you get competition. Where's the competition for the academic side, for those other skills that we definitely need and desire? So one of the things that I've done is really champion the gifted department, as well as champion our debate team, and anything that's academic. It too should get a trophy. It does get a trophy. It too gets the spotlight on the yearbook page. It too gets the spotlight on the intercom. It too gets the same attention and highlight as the football team, as the baseball team. They get the exact same type of support. So, for example, our debate team did extremely well this year, and our moot court team did extremely well. Robotics also did really well the previous year, and we made it district-wide this past year. So it's very important that we use that competition Because if they like the competition, which our young men do, at that early age, they get that shine. And once they get that shine, it becomes just addictive, and you just keep feeding that. So it's extrinsic motivation for their effort that becomes intrinsic. Then after that, it's self-perpetuating. But the other thing is delayed gratification. In our culture right now, we have this emphasis and focus on instant gratification. YouTube,
Right.
instant. Everything is instant. No longer do you have to go to an encyclopedia to go and look for things. Now you just punch it in and Wikipedia comes up in less than a few seconds on the exact page. You don't have to do all that extra stuff. So we have to now really go back into building that work ethic of the patience and delayed gratification. We do that, then you get the success that we so desire. And I forgot the research that they show that a person that can operate on delayed gratification will become much more successful and less likely to be to go into drugs and things of that nature for that instant gratification type aspect. So it's very rich research out there that's pushing that delayed gratification as a skill that we really teach.
Wow. One of the problems that we were talking about as far as did that answer your question?
Yes, he did. There's always a means to the end, and the students have to be able to see that and get that same, as he said, gratification and that same recognition as they would for sports.
Yeah.
So I completely agree.
Well, we thank you for calling in today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
One of the things that we were talking about as far as the the Majestic Lodge project was that the children that are being raised that you're probably having a lot of problems with are living in hotels, in extended stay hotels. So we know that from past conversations, the extended stay hotels are now the new projects. So the kids that are living there, from my experience, they're eating out of a garbage can. They're not getting the proper sleep. They may be sleeping 3-4 kids on the floor, et cetera, et cetera. It's a bad situation. When those children are growing between the age of 0 and 6, that's what you're experiencing. You're experiencing that they didn't get any of the basic needs and basic education, basic morals that were supposed to be given to them, basic ethics, etc. So they haven't got it. Now you're getting them at age 4 and 5, trying to teach them, and they haven't got the basic skills that they need to even be at that level, at kindergarten level.
That's correct. And it's a sad scenario. I have 6th graders at my school that are reading on 2nd and 3rd grade level.
Wow.
So we have had to reallocate resources in order to make sure that those young men get caught up on just basic phonemic awareness, then fluency, because they're spending so much time of their brain and on just trying to sound out the word that they miss the whole meaning of the word and the meaning of the passage. So you're absolutely right, and that is a real scenario. So for all of our listeners, that's a real scenario that's going on, and that is part of some of the things of poverty and the decisions that our governments, local as well as national, state, have created. And those are very significant issues that we as educators then have to address. And we do that not only by the traditional methods, but we have to get and use strategies that reach the young man quickly and much more meaningful. And that way we can actually increase and have greater gains in a short amount of time.
Right. One of the studies that we have talked about previously was there was a Nobel Peace Prize economist, and he talked about how our children are not being, the real needs of our children are not being addressed.
They're not.
And because the real needs of our children are not being addressed, we have, this is the reason why this is a systemic problem. Do you agree that it's very systemic?
It is systemic. It is a systemic and systematic in many instances as well issue that we're facing. And we have to deal with this with financial resources. You cannot just allocate this one student anywhere in the state of Georgia gets this one, say this dollar amount. You have to go based on the need of that young man and woman, young lady, in order to make sure they get what they need to catch up, because we're creating the next person in jail. We're creating that next inmate by these circumstances here.
Now, do you know that there was a study that was done here in the United States about 40 years ago? The study was that they take one group, two focus groups. One group was taught by no one less than a master's degree. They were put into a totally different environment, had nutrition, had a well-rounded environment. The other group was not. They were just left in their home environment. They were not taught by a master's degree or above level. And the difference between the two children was astounding. So the pilot group was followed for the next 20 years of their life.
Okay.
They found out that the ones that were taught by master's degree and above, that were in a perfect environment, those children, 98% of them went on to college, went on to become whatever. They also, the 2%, not that they were menial or marginal, they also attained more than most of the children that were in the other test group.
Yes, ma'am.
More than 40% of the other test group ended up in jail. So how come they didn't implement this in the United States is beyond me. They just did the pilot. That was the end of it. But guess who looked at that? Canada. Canada looked at it. They said, well, we're going to implement this. They implemented it in Quebec. And for the last 40 years, they have implemented this in Quebec. Had some of the highest educated people coming out of Quebec because of that. And another thing that happened is that they created these pilot schools to be funded. Now, you can get a voucher to go there if you can't afford it.
Okay.
So what does that mean? The rich and famous are going to the school.
Absolutely.
But you get on this voucher system, and it's not that many that cannot go. It's like 50% of the population in the area can go, and they can go with a subsidy. So it's either full scholarship or subsidy, and these schools have done some phenomenal work with these students. Why can't we do that here?
I don't think we cannot do it here.
Why
didn't we?
Why didn't we want to do that?
Why didn't we? That is a hard question. I must admit, I would have to think about that and really do the reason why. But we can do that here in the United States of America. But we need to do it for a public school that is teaching by far more children, that is going to reach the masses, and we can do that here. And the way we're doing it at best in some instances in Atlanta public schools across is that we increase the abilities of our educators, but then we also put those wraparound services there in order to reach those kids. Because it wasn't just the school system itself, it was also the other things that you get by having the background knowledge in order to make whatever words come alive when you do get in the classroom. So when we talk about, as myself as a middle class person, my goal is to expose my child or children to these various things. So when you see the word on a page, you have a memory to define that automatically. You take a concrete, an abstract concept and make it very concrete, then you have the ability to teach that young person who doesn't have any background knowledge. And I think one of the things that the master's teacher has is the ability or the content knowledge in such a way that they can break down that content to a child who's on a second, third grade level. If you can do that, then that depends on the mastery of that teacher, whether college masters or not. It's about, do you know that content so well that you're able to take an abstract foreign 1776 Declaration of Independence and make it real to a 2014 child? Can you do that? If you can't do that, then that 1776 document means nothing to that child and not even worth remembering. So that's very crucial. And that's where I think we have to start talking about how are we training educators? Is a broad-based education certification enough?
Right.
Or should they get much more content experts?
Well, I was talking to an individual, and he had done some research and found that some individuals that were given the SAT again, they got between a 400 to 800 score, and they were teaching high school. They were teaching our children. Does that mean that they can't teach? No. Does that mean that they can became an expert at one subject? That could be. So I'm not knocking the teachers because I know, but to take a well-rounded test like that and then have to pass it, some people look at that in a negative manner. I wanted to also talk about the prisons. how the prisons have become a big business, and it seems like they're promoting that instead of promoting this course that would actually put us on a better track, make a stronger America. It looks like they just want to incarcerate.
I agree. A lot of times we try to discipline the behavior versus dealing with the cause. And that, just like suspensions, by suspending a young man doesn't solve the issue. And incarcerating them does not solve the issue. So we have to be much more creative in coming up with solutions that will address the actual core issue. And a lot of it is the issue with poverty. And there's so much research out there. I love Ruby Payne's work. I love the fact that we really got to understand the difference between class mentality and what does that do. So you may be of the same race but of a different background. So therefore you may not be able to connect with the student that is experiencing poverty like you so described earlier. And that is a heart-wrenching scenario. I have young men that show up at school where I wouldn't have shown up at school if I was that age and doing those things. Like, they were able to walk in the rain, soaking wet, to get to school, and I'm here at school. That wouldn't have been me as a kid. So the grit that they have to do that is just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So that's why we have to put so much more into our schools as teachers, as parents, as administrators, because they're there and they want to learn. They want to be the best. We just have to show them that there's more than what they know as could be the best and get their goals. If we don't
do it, where are they going to get it? They're going to get it out in the street.
Absolutely.
Another thing is that we took the trade schools out. We're taking music out. We're taking all of their extracurricular activities that would keep them engaged out.
Absolutely. And that's something that I think we made a mistake in education, where, yes, college is an outstanding thing, and it is very important, but college doesn't always mean liberal arts. It can be a trade. And that's perfect because I pay a mechanic to do my car and he gets my good money. You know what I'm saying? So, so those skills, you're absolutely right. I pay for all types of things that happen at the house, but that need somebody who has the certifications and the skill set to do that. Right. So you're absolutely right. We need to put that back in, and that's something that is definitely needed, and I hope we all bring back.
One of the references that the president made is that these children right here that he was pointing at, he said, they could be your mechanic.
That's right.
If you don't train your mechanic to even do the basic skills, he's putting together your car. So we can go just as basic as what you were saying with the mechanic. The other thing I was going to mention is that if we don't concentrate on having all of these extracurricular activities in school at an early age, like when they can experiment and explore, when they have to now, I mean, it's not fair. We're doing academics, but we haven't even exposed them to other trades or things that they could do.
Absolutely.
They may not be able to do the SAT, but they can put together a computer.
Absolutely. And we have to expose them, and we have to go back to some of the things that we did in the 80s where we took a battery of tests, and those battery of tests gave us our interests, and then where would you go based on that interest? Not that we have to say this is where you are at third grade and you're going to be this for the rest of your life, but at least let me build and teach you in that way. Let me design projects in a way that capitalizes on your strengths and your interests. So those are the interest analyzers and the multiple intelligence exams that we give to students at Best Academy Middle School so that our teachers can then use that information in order to design lessons that are engaging so that you won't daydream while I'm teaching you.
Right. So now that if we found out that Johnny is really good at computers, well, that's really not a good scenario because there's a lot of computers around. But let's say Johnny's good at horticulture.
Exactly.
And how would you direct that child's behavior so now that he'll get that experience that he needs?
It's phenomenal. I have an expert teacher who's at Best Academy who's a science teacher. Her name is Kushmir. Her experience, her background before teaching was actually in agriculture. And so now she's a science teacher. She teaches life science. So one of the things she does as part of our after-school program is to have a garden. And so they do their own garden in the back of the school and doing all of those type of activities. So it's that type of exposure that we can have in after-school programs. Those are the types of things that we can do on Saturday programs. Those are the types of things that we definitely and desperately need. And that's where the content expert will be able to take this content off of a page and then say, this is how it relates to you. This is how it relates in real life. Why do I need to know the area of something if I'm not going to do that? I'm college, have a couple of degrees, but still I don't calculate the area anymore for anything unless I'm really trying to do some carpeting myself, or which I don't do. So there's why is that relevant to me as a middle school kid right now? And that's where a content expert is able to make that type of connection for a young man and young lady to be successful and be interested in that work. So you're absolutely right.
Okay. One of the other things that I wanted to mention is that with the prison system, once they get in there, and they're exposed to all of that. We're not talking about juvenile. I really don't know juvenile. But once they get into the prison system, it seems like they're exposed to so many things that we wouldn't even want them exposed to as a society. How do we correct that? That's what the things we're talking about. Recidivism is one of the things I'm going to talk about next week. But how do we correct it?
We have to get in. The prison system cannot just be a holding place. It has to be something where you're here, but let me make you ready for society now that you're getting back out at some point in time. It has to be something where let me put the wraparound service in place for the young person or that person so that they can cope and have the skill set and the social emotional development in order to be make the right choices, right decisions. But that's something that we have to train once they're in prison. But that means that's the type of, let me divert that dollar then. The second thing is that before they get to prison, where are we training young men and women about making quality decisions? Because that's not tested on ACT. That's not tested on the SAT. That's not tested on the CRCT. Those types of things are not tested. So therefore, but those are the determining factors that make sure that you're going to be successful in any walk of life. So we have to have those advisory programs within the school day and after school that gives them that opportunity. We have to revive Boy Scouts, revive the village in which that raised me, that raised you. And if it's not, we don't live any longer where all of the cousins live on the same street anymore in the neighborhood like we used to, where grandma lived down the street and say, I'm going to beat you and call you call your parents and get a whooping by the time you get home. We don't do that anymore. Right. So we have to build, as parents and as a community, we have to build that. We have to manufacture this neighborhood again so that we can then raise the child that's no longer sick. But again, we have to understand that it's our fault that that child is sick.
That's right. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention before we get ready to go is that the child, the person who now has not been, we're talking about, let's take a scenario of a child that lives across the street, that used to live across the street. Didn't get any of the skills, basic skills that anyone had gotten. They're trying to get it in school. Their parents have no interest in them. Their mother might be a prostitute. Sisters and brothers are out there just as well. And now this child is trying to just even cope. The parents don't help them with their education at all, so they cannot read. Have made it through high school, and then said, forget it, out of high school, I'm not going to graduate, I don't care about high school. Started in the criminal system, and now in jail. There is no training in jail. So now this person, their whole life has not been educated.
And I'm stumbling because what is the answer? I don't have that answer. But what I do have is that we as voters and citizens have to take responsibility for that. We as voters and citizens need to put people in place that's saying we're going to do education differently and we're going to do these prisons differently. We have to do this differently or else we're going to continue to get the exact same thing. So one of the things
at a bigger magnitude.
In a bigger magnitude, way worse, because it's just going to multiply. Because that parent that dropped out of high school is going to may not be able to produce and give the support necessary. But that's where I'm so happy about you and about the other community-based organizations that are doing that real work, because I firmly believe that this civil rights movement of this time is education. That is the crucial part, that if we don't put our energy there, then we won't be able to seize all the opportunities on the past that was paid and fought for.
Right. So education does break the chain of poverty.
It does. And you so eloquently stated about the example about the master's teacher doing that. So it's excellent.
Okay. I see here, I got a flyer that says Teach in Touch.
Teachers in Touch.
Teachers
yes.
in Touch.
Yes.
And this flyer is about a program that you've written.
Yes, it's an application that is written for teachers as educators across the country. It's currently in the Apple platform, so you can actually go on the App Store and download it.
Wow.
Currently for $4.99. But it's really about communicating with parents, but it keeps everybody in touch. It keeps the administrator as well as the counselor in touch with that young man and young lady about grades, academics, attendance, things of that nature. But then it sends an automatic email after so many contacts, automatically email saying, hey, counselor, this young man, young lady needs help, please, because of behavior. It automatically does a lot of the things that a teacher will have to do for them so that they can then focus on teaching.
Oh wow, that is very cool. Did you wrote the coding for it?
Actually, no, I did not write the coding. I designed it, and I had some coders to actually do it. Do
Wow.
the coding.
So does it links to the parents' telephone and the
Yes.
teacher's telephone and
Exactly.
and just a text message
You
goes
can
out
text, call, or email. So you can do all three. And it keeps a record of all of the contacts, including the message, the time, the place, subject matter, etc., all based in that one particular app.
Wow, so that you can actually see if the parents are engaged.
Exactly.
If the parents aren't engaged, then we can do an intervention with parents.
We'll intervention with parents, and we can intervene with that wraparound support. The counselor, the social worker, the graduation coach, and the administrators all get a notification letting them know, hey, this person needs help. I've called this parent twice about behavior. Please reach out to that child to help him get whatever he needs before the suspension part happens, before the jail part happens. Let me get the support in place. Let me get the community-based organization in place to build that village around the child. That's why it's called it.
Has this been in existence for a while, so you can do some data?
Well, no, it hasn't been. We just actually finished this build in July of 2013, so we just got it out and just got it started.
Okay.
So we look to have some data out soon.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, we appreciate having you here today, Hajj.
Thank you for having me.
My very special guest has been Hajj Womack, and he's the principal of Best Academy Middle School. And as usual, the only way things will change is if we get involved in our community and make the changes we seek. Until next week, this is Delores Bunch-Keemer with Let's Communicate.
Tap Out Studios of Hollywood is one of Atlanta's newest visual and performing arts centers designed for you to perfect your creativity. Our 3,000 square foot event space includes a full bar, VIP section, movie screen, and 2 stages. Take advantage of our Spring Fling package deal for new and existing clients. Save over 40% when you rent our venue for $700 for events with more than 100 people. For booking information, contact Kendra at 404-578-1454. Located less than a half a mile off of I-20 off Fulton Industrial, we are Tap Out Studios of Hollywood, 620 Interchange Drive. Tap Out Studios of Hollywood. Inspiring creativity, changing lives, and making dreams come true.